So yeah, my whole plan of action was to get out of that relation alive, me and my daughter, because he really gave me, he didn't give me crazy vibes. He didn't give me any vibes that I was in danger, but I didn't trust that I was safe around him. And it's two different things, but it's the same thing. Girl, get out safe. What's good, y'all? Lonnie Appleton here. If you have a couple of minutes, I am recounting the time that I was engaged, as well as how I was almost married to a man that I only had 1% in common with, and I was going to deal with the other 99%. We're discussing the 80-20 rule, as well as marrying your best friend. So anyway, I got to the point where he had only been to my house once. I always went to his house. And so it got to the point where I was just like, okay, at this point I can ghost him. We are friends. I'm no longer his fiance. I'm no longer his girlfriend. We're just friends. And I just ghosted him. And I prayed to God that he didn't remember where I lived. All right, so most relationships fail. Did I go through this? Most relationships fail because they build themselves on the 20% that you have in common, and you don't like 80% of them. And if this 20% isn't strong enough that you can suffer through because you're suffering through this 80%, that's why your relationships fail, and that's good. At least you knew enough that we're not going to hold on to this, because life can truly be 100%. It's rare, and the only reason why it's rare is because we don't fight for it. We don't work for it. That's better, because it takes work. It's not a fight, it's work. The only reason why you have to fight in a relationship is because somebody is unwilling to change, and they're not willing to be the new 80-20% rule, and you don't. All right, so did we already talk old 80-20 rule? There's 80% likable qualities, 20% qualities that you find annoying, but you learn how to work around those. And for those, that has been what is a successful relationship. For me and Dre, that's been our success relationship. I can tolerate his 20%, he could tolerate my 20%, but we have the 80% likable qualities, and we love those, and so that's what keeps us strong and bonded. But I have a reprise. Reposition of the 80-20 rule. The new 80-20 rule is 80% of us is individuality. 80% that we learn about a person is because we chose to be friends first. Save the sex. Be friends. Why do you know you like your friends? Because you didn't complicate it with anything besides just being a friend. Very different from friend zone. A couple videos back. But if you truly want a lasting relationship, if you out here fucking and ducking, then that's cool. Go out here and fucking duck, but find somebody that you can fucking duck. Everybody is not a fuck on. You know what I'm saying? But if you're out here trying to build meaningful relationships, check the next video, because I'm running out of space. Now, I'm not out here encouraging child brides, but what I am encouraging is stop waiting until the middle of your life, especially when the life expectancy of the average black male is, I see a bunch of y'all dying in the 50s, but the life expectancy of the average black male is whatever the statistics say. You can't wait until you're 40 years old to decide you're ready to settle down and find a wife. You only got 10 years with your wife now. So you spent the other 40 years of your life getting around doing what? Getting sex? Getting your dick sucked? Is that what really was fulfilling for you? I mean, if that fills you up, are you like Elon Musk where you're at negative? I don't care, that joke. He ran that joke too long, but that was a good joke. What's good, y'all? Lonnie Appleton here. If you have a couple of minutes, we are talking relationships. I'm doing some healing, y'all. I hope y'all listening. But who you liked when you were 18 probably isn't who you like at 25, probably isn't who you like at 30. I get it. But what we need to do is we need to start figuring out what we like a lot sooner than 40. We need to stop shifting this player mentality once we're all worn out and we just don't want to die alone, so let me go find somebody to die with. We need to get to where we understand that the power in us is to couple and to come together and build a solid union and build. That's the only way that our communities are going to survive and thrive, is if we come together and we build strong foundations. That foundation is our home. And I get it. There's an anomaly everywhere. Everybody don't want to be married. Everybody don't want everybody to know. I'm not talking to you, but in your individuality, you need to become centered and solid in who you are so that you can then join the community and we all can evolve together. This isn't a race thing. We all need to come together first individually, then in our families, and then collectively. And that's the only way this human race is going to survive. We've been fighting each other for eons. I don't know how long an eon is, but I think that's long enough. We've been fighting each other for eons, and ain't nothing came of it. How about we try getting along? What is it they say? It takes 27 days to create a new habit. How about we try loving on each other, genuinely loving on each other for 27 days? And if that don't change the dynamic of the world, go back to the crap. But guess what? When September 11th happened, and I don't know about the rest of the world, but I could talk about my experience here in America. When September 11th happened, I saw for the first time in my entire lifetime, everybody come together and everyone just being loving towards each other. And it was an unfortunate circumstances that caused us to be in this loving space, but it was a hell of a time to experience humanity. And so I know that if we all collectively came together and decided we're going to move in love, the shift would start. But anyway, y'all gotta really get to who you are a lot sooner so that we can come together and start building these communities and building the world that we want to see, that we wish to see, can be reality if we do the work. You notice the reason why humanity or the world is messed up is because of humanity. But humanity doesn't think it needs to change itself. We just think it's wishful thinking. This stuff has to make sense to you guys. We're the problem. We see the problem. We're the problem. Can't fix the problem because we won't fix ourselves. What's good, y'all? Lonnie Appleton here. If you have a couple of minutes, got a couple of messages. I'm talking about friendship, marrying your friends, and the 80-20 rule, and I got sidetracked on humanity as a whole. Anyway, the new 80-20 rule. 80%, we built our relationship on friendship. We are friends first. I had to remember where I left off. We built our relationship on being friends first. So after we established our friendship, because we're not having sex, we're friends first, and we realize, we do have 80% things in common. And the reason why we want to be friends first, because think about, with our friends, when we see the 20% of the things about them that we don't like, we either tolerate them or we accept them. Acceptance is built in love. Toleration is built in the opposite of I accept you, I'm just tolerating this stuff and I'm gonna throw it in your face every chance I see it. That 80 ain't going the way that I wanted to, I'm about to throw those things I tolerate in your face. Acceptance is, even when that 80% isn't going the way that I wanted to, that 20% that you are starting to display, I accept it, I understand it, because we're both human having human experiences. And we do that when we have a true friendship with somebody. But when we jump in because we're having sex and now we're in a relationship because that 20% or that 1% we have in common, which is we like to have sex and we don't have nothing else in common, we just big cluster. That's not what we want. And that's why relationships fail. So let's start talking about the success of relationship. The new 80-20 rule, 80%. You get to remain your individuality. You keep your individuality. That's who you are, your personality. And we fell in love with that. There's 20% of you that are behaviors that aren't favorable. We accept them because we love you and we were friends first. And so I've learned how you operate. And I know that's just Lonnie. But in a true unified union, I think if I throw up the definition of union on there, I'm sure it has something to do with coming together and uniting. In order to be in a successful union, you have your union evolution. So that 20% isn't things that you accept about your spouse. It's 20% of things that you evolve about yourself for your spouse. And in that evolution, that's where you find submission. I'm running out of time. I'll be back with a part whatever.